Okay, apparently that's how you do it. Um, I I forgot my big studio microphone and I forgot the webcam, so I am kind of patching things together and using a combination of my laptop and my phone to do this. Um, but hopefully this is going to work. Apparently, people who are online can hear me. Now, the way we're going to do this is that if you are the guest speaker, I'm going to ask you to come somewhere in this vicinity so that the microphone can pick you up. And then whenever there are questions, I am going to actually just type them into the chat. If somebody asks a question verbally, I'm going to type it into the chat as well. So that way, um, everybody is going to know what people are talking about. All right. So, welcome to this September meeting of the Patterson Park Neighborhood Association. It is September. School has started. I can't believe it. Soon enough, it's going to be Halloween. Then soon enough, it's going to be Thanksgiving. And then soon enough, it's going to be the end of the year. With us today is, I know that online we have Lindsay Johnson-Graham, who is the VP of the Patterson Place sector. Also, three of our other VPs. I see Mary, VP representing North. I see Colin, VP representing West. And where is Justin? Oh, there you are, representing the East sector. So these are your board members in the Neighborhood Association. And without further ado, because we have a very full agenda today, we're just going to get started because we have, well, three presentations. The first is going to be, I didn't tell him he was going to be first, but Liam Davis, who is with, I'm sorry, it's the
Consumer Freedom Coalition.
Consumer Freedom Coalition. Okay, so
I did send
you did. It is, here we go. And I am going to share screens. Yep. Okay, so do that there, and then do that, and like do that.
Great.
Okay, real quick, I need somebody online to tell me that you see a presentation, and you're going to need to say it verbally. You can. Okay, cool. Liam, you're on the floor.
Well, it's great to be back here at Patterson Park Neighborhood Association. It's been a while, but this is my first time in this capacity speaking on behalf of the Consumer Freedom Coalition, and we'll get into what this organization is all about, but also acknowledge my partner in crime back there, Jonathan Savoy. Jonathan's there to help answer any questions, help you sign up for email updates.
Stand over here, please.
Oh, sorry. Let me get over here.
Yep.
So anyway, what is the Consumer Freedom Coalition? Well, it's really an organization that's advocating on behalf of your rights as Maryland consumers, trying to make your shopping experience more convenient, and really try and help expand retail opportunities across the state, including here in Baltimore City. So go to the next slide. So here's our meeting agenda. I'll keep it quick because you guys do have a packed agenda tonight. But first, we're going to give some background. We're going to look at what beer and wine in grocery stores is, what it's not, supporters of this initiative, and how you can help. And I actually got a little ahead of myself. That's really the big crux of why I'm here tonight. There was legislation last year that was backed by Governor Moore and some of our members here in the Baltimore City delegation to try and legalize beer and wine in grocery retail locations. So we're going to get into some background as to what the current law is, how we got here, and why we're trying to change it. So go to the next slide. Okay, why can't we buy beer and wine in grocery stores? So in most of the country, 46 states, over 300 million people, you can generally go to your local grocery store and buy beer and wine. Here in Maryland, there's a law that dates back to the late 1970s. The law was adopted at the time sort of in response to the supermarket model proliferating in the grocery retail sector. It was kind of trade protectionism to, out of fear that some of the independent operators, they felt like they were going to lose out in the market. There are some grocery stores in Maryland, you may have noticed, that do sell beer and wine. Those were essentially grandfathered in before the 1970s law was adopted. Back when I was in high school and college, I actually worked in the grocery industry. I worked for Superfresh. I don't know if anybody here remembers Superfresh, but we used to work at the Towson one, and we used to be like, you know, we're barely breaking even here, but if we sold beer and wine, we'd kill it because, like, you know, it's Tiger Town, it's a college neighborhood. And we were like, well, why does the Salisbury store, Superfresh, sell beer and wine? And it's because they were grandfathered in under the existing law. So just a little bit of history there. Again, Maryland is one of only 4 states that currently prohibit beer and wine. Numerous communities have multiple liquor stores around the state, but they don't have a grocery store. We see that, you know, here in Baltimore City in some cases, but we see it, you know, really across the whole state. The existing law, you know, I think unintentionally has reduced consumer convenience and hampered grocery store margins. Go to the next slide. Beer and wine sales and grocery store benefits. So what are the benefits of this? Added convenience for Maryland consumers. Essentially, let's say you're in a rush, you work your 9 to 5, you got to pick up the kids from daycare or school and then run, you know, treat your neighbors dinner. Maybe you guys are hanging out, maybe you're stooping. You know, under the current setup, you either have to go to the grocery store, get your food that you're going to cook that night or grill, and then go to a separate location to get your beer and wine. So it does create like a bit of inconvenience under the existing plan. The state would benefit from the increased revenues lost out of state. And here's another real world example. In Washington, D.C., right over the Maryland, D.C. line, there's a Costco. That Costco is the highest revenue generating Costco in the entire country. The reason being, they're literally targeting Marylanders who live in Prince George's County and Montgomery County, and they're oftentimes capturing them because they have the beer and wine component. So people just want the one-stop shop feel. So Maryland, because of the current law, is losing out on that revenue. Less commuting between stores means time and money saved, transportation costs. We really want to drill it down, probably emissions, although I'm not going to really make the climate change argument here. The other important thing to keep in mind is, assuming this bill gets introduced this session and it gets adopted, it doesn't automatically give every grocery store a beer and wine license. There would be the existing liquor board oversight. So the Baltimore City Liquor Board, the counties, what have you, they would have to obtain a license. They'd have to go through the existing, again, regulatory framework and be subject to inspections and making sure that they're not serving underage and making sure they're following all the rules of the road. Next slide. Beer and wine sales in grocery stores would be a boost to local communities. And why is that? Well, again, we talked about it, convenience. That's already been kind of addressed. But really what it comes down to is what I talked a little bit about earlier during my personal experience, which is the improved margins at grocery stores help the existing stores. And they give an extra incentive for grocery retailers to look at some markets and some neighborhoods that maybe they just wouldn't have considered under the current model. When I was at Superfresh in Towson, we would probably do around $26 million in revenue a year, but our expenses were around $25,800,000. So for a store that was making bringing in $26 million in revenue, we were bringing in $200,000 a year, which is like razor thin margins. And then if you drill it down further, our company, we were one of only 5 stores in the district that were even making money. And the reality is Superfresh is gone. It doesn't even exist anymore. So it's really a tough environment for grocery retailers. And essentially, if we get more grocery stores, that does technically expand healthy food access. So it's not necessarily a direct line solution, but it's kind of encouraging, helping give an incentive, helping the grocery retailers get a better margin. And in the end benefit is the community might get better healthy food access. You might get more local jobs in the community. Next slide. Beer and wine sales in grocery stores. We're not interested in shutting down independent liquor stores. So I want to be clear. We're not trying to shut the small guy down. The reality is that the independents are going to retain their monopoly on hard liquor sales. We're only looking for beer and wine sales in grocery stores. Hard liquor, if you're a Bacardi person, if you're a whiskey person, you can still go to your local independent retailer.
Can we ask questions?
Yep. Once I'm almost done, we can definitely do it. Just give me 2 more minutes. I'm all for questions. States with beer and wine sales do have a robust liquor store environment. So, if you're not from Maryland, I'm sure you've seen, the two peacefully coexist. Even here in Maryland, where you have those grandfathered in stores, there's still liquor stores that are doing well in those communities. The other thing to keep in mind is states with permitted beer and wine sales do have robust craft brewery and wine industries as well. So it could actually be beneficial to local small business. Next slide. Who supports wine and beer in grocery stores? Oh my God. A lot of your neighbors, your friends, and family. Because the most recent polling data shows 80% of Marylanders would be in favor of this change. So in addition, Governor Westmore, as I said, our state senator immediately north in the 45th district, Corey McCray was the bill sponsor last year. Delegate Marlon Ampery was also a bill sponsor from West Baltimore. So there is robust support here in Baltimore City. And then there is definitely robust support, in the governor's mansion as well. But most importantly, your neighbors, your friends, your family. Next slide. Okay, this is the last slide, I promise, and then we can open up the questions. How can you join us in bringing wine and beer sales to grocery stores? So prepare for the 2026 legislative session by signing up for email updates. So we have a sign-in sheet back there. If you're interested in staying up on this, definitely give it a look. You can scan the QR code. If you sign up for those email updates, there's going to be opportunities where you might get an email where saying, hey, call to action, email your legislator, email your local officials. We do have some postcards in the back that you can fill out with your own handwriting. You can say, hey, I support beer and wine. Jonathan's holding it up right back there. There we go. Yeah, Jonathan. This is his first day. He's doing a great job. But you can personalize it, say, here's why it's important. And that's going to go directly to your state senator, our Senate President, Bill Ferguson. And then lastly, you can talk to your family and friends and neighbors about the benefits of allowing beer and wine sales at grocery stores. And with that, we'll open up the questions.
One of your, it wasn't a statistic. It said beer and liquor stores in other states do robust business. There are no statistics. You have no states there that are doing that. And I'm curious where you got that, how you got that, and what are those states?
So what I can say is the states where it's not permitted, so in addition to Maryland, it's not permitted.
No, not permitted. The states that are robustly doing business.
The 46, so let me can I just say this real quick? Where it's not permitted, because that's a little easier than explaining 46 states, right? Where it's similar laws to Maryland. Keep in mind, all states are different. There are slight differences in how this is all set up, but the closest to what it is in Maryland is Delaware, Rhode Island, and Alaska. The remaining 46 states in the United States essentially have beer and wine sales in their permitted in their state, and there are robust independent industries there, small businesses that also operate in those environments. I could just pick one out as Wisconsin or Illinois. If you're in Chicago, the grocery store there, they would have beer and wine available, but they're also going to have their local, their local independent operators. The other thing to keep in mind too that I want to stress is changing this law doesn't force anyone to shop anywhere. All we're trying to do is give you an option. For me, where I live in Greektown, convenience is going to vary based on where I am. If I'm at Camp Crossing and I'm shopping at Harris Teeter, then it's going to be more convenient there. But if I'm home and I want to grab a bottle of wine, I'm going to walk to the corner store because I don't want to drive. So it's more so about choice. We're not trying to force anything on anyone. It's really to just give you the option, the choice. Yes.
There are very few stores, people that I know in this area who just leave their house and walk to the corner store and get a bottle of wine or a bottle of beer. I think that's, you've got to drive almost anywhere. You just mentioned Delaware. Delaware does a robust business, but why is that? It's because there's no tax in Delaware. If you did that here in Maryland, I'd be signing up for it. But there's no tax in Delaware on liquor, and that's why people go there. Also, in the communities where liquor stores are, where there are no liquor stores, there are also other reasons for that. It reminds me of today on television, there are so many commercials for gambling.
Mhm.
Every other hour now, there's a commercial. This is leading to something that I think may not be good for our communities.
The beer and wine in the grocery store.
Yeah.
Well, I would say a counter argument, I think if beer and wine were authorized in a grocery store, it would force the existing independent retailers to step their game up. Because right now they have a monopoly.
I don't agree with that.
And that's fine. We can disagree. That's more than fine. That's your right.
With like 80% of like in favor, what has been the reason why this hasn't already gone through?
So it's a great question. It comes up every year, and there's essentially a lobbying. I'm being transparent with you. The Consumer Freedom Coalition is backed by the Maryland Retailers Alliance. So the grocery industry is behind it. There's no question about it. Who is worried about their market getting cut? It's the independent operator. Yeah. Yep. And they have trade organizations as well.
Isn't there like, aren't most liquor licenses like pretty heavily monitored by the current liquor license holder?
So yes, so actually that's like another good point. It's like, let's say that this happens. Let's say that this gets legalized. One of the big benefactors of this getting legalized would be the existing license holder, because there would be a push to get those licenses. These licenses, they don't just like create them out of thin air. They're very finite. Technically, they can create them through legislative action. But what it would probably do is you'd see the price of an existing liquor license in certain markets, because they're all tied to the legislative district. So you can only move a liquor license within here in the 46th district, and only can move within the 46th district. So you'll probably see the value of that license spike. And if an independent retailer, is kind of like, I kind of just want to cash out, they could sell it and make a decent profit off of it. But that's going to be a case by case basis. And again, I think these are kind of different markets too. Like your high end independent retailers are generally always going to have like a better selection than a grocery store. Like if you think about, there's like that really well known wine store in Hampton, like I guess it's Total Wine. I think so. But they're going to have a better selection than Harris Teeter. So I think that's where I said like it's going to probably force some of these retailers to step their game up.
Costco always has better. Where I have a second house.
Yeah.
In Tycoon, Costco always has the best selection of bourbon at the cheapest price.
Well,
so I'm sorry, just because we do have a time limit here, just let me see by a show of hands who has a question. Just raise your hand. Okay, I got 1, 2. Okay. All right. So please go ahead. I'm just watching the time here.
we can go around. Yeah.
Zeroing in on your win condition, it seems like according to Maryland Badgers, last year the Craze bill got killed in the Senate Finance Committee, and Ampre's bill got killed in the Economic Matters Committee.
Yeah.
So who are the committee members who are voting? And what is?
Yeah. So that's great. So it's really about which committee it's in, and we're going to be targeting leadership, in terms of, getting people's, like, again, these postcards, we're getting it to the Senate president so that he can filter it down to the committee chair saying, hey, look, we're at a point now where 80% of the state wants this. So maybe we don't want to play defense. I didn't actually track the bill that much last year, but that's something I can follow up with you with the precise details.
Yeah.
It's really there on the committee side. It's going to come down to the chair of the committee. And if it, like a lot of times the bill didn't even get heard, that's intentional. They just let it die in committee.
So for Senate side, that's Biden from Anne Arundel County.
Yeah, okay, so that actually makes sense because we're probably going to be doing some outreach in her district too. Yeah. But thank you. That's a great question. We can talk after, and I can drill it down and get you the specifics.
Question over here.
Yep.
So I think I have a unique perspective. I kind of feel compelled to share.
Sure.
So I'm a physician,
Mhm.
and in 2023, I was the Maryland State. So at that time, there were only 13 states that had an alcohol epidemiologist in the whole country.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of thinking about like the health consequences of alcohol, data, policy around it. And I don't see Maryland as like falling behind. I see Maryland as kind of like a champion in terms of like public health related to alcohol. In states where like they do sell alcohol in the grocery store, 70% of alcohol sales are in the grocery store. So I don't think I like just thinking about like the benefits and harms. Like I see the benefits not that great for like the average person, whereas like the list of harms is like kind of long.
Sure.
So yeah, I'm concerned about like health at a population level.
Yeah.
Effects. And then also I do think it will impact small businesses. I know you
Yeah.
just given like the sales
So
in other states.
and I think that's great feedback, and it is important because this is a heavy topic, right? Alcohol, as we all know, you have to be 21 for a reason to consume, right? And we know that there's studies about what it does. I'm trying to not disparage the opposition, but also be honest with you guys. And I'm sure if you were the state's alcohol, can you say the official term again? Epidemiologist.
Yeah.
Thank you. Are you familiar with the report that probably came out 10 years ago that talked about the BD7 licenses in the city, where these were tavern licenses that in practice were not operating as taverns. Over time were converted to liquor stores and package like carry out locations. You know, those are the businesses that I think are at most risk here. And those are the businesses that if they were to leave, it actually might be a benefit in some of our communities, especially if it resulted in a grocery store staying open or a new one being built. And that's not to say that what you're saying, there isn't a lot of truth there, because there is. And I know personally from my family, you know, I could tell you offline some stuff. So it is heavy. That's another reason why this has been, you know, kicked around for so long. But I can assure you, the people pushing against the legalization are the existing owners that don't want to lose their market. And that's what it is. It's not people concerned about health and well-being.
Of course. A 10-year-old study? You just said a 10-year-old study?
Oh yeah, it was from Hopkins back when I had more hair, and I used to come to these meetings working for someone else. But there was a big push to close the BD7s, and they actually reformed all the liquor licenses in the city.
10 years ago.
And many of them are still around. Yeah, that's how powerful that lobby is. Yeah. Any other questions? I thought
There was somebody over on this side of the room, I think. Okay. Well, we do have one more question in the chat. You can see it right here. What is the actual cost of the bill? Bethany's asking.
It's legislation. There's no real cost. Like I guess there is some slight cost during like bill drafting, but it's marginal. Every year in Annapolis, there's thousands of bills introduced. There will be there is always a fiscal policy note. There was probably one attached to the bill from last year. I can get that to you, Ernest, so you see the fiscal policy note. That will give you an estimate of what the fiscal impact to the state governments and the local governments will be. Based on our, information that we have, we do think it would be, and this could be a net revenue generator for the state. But the state budget is huge. So it's like at the end of the day, it's not going to move the needle that much.
Okay.
Anything else?
No, I think that's it. And are you going to be sticking around?
I'll be sticking around. Jonathan's back there. Or I can talk to people and have the postcards if anyone wants to write something in support. Thank you, everybody.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay. So our next speaker will be Josh. Do you go by Josh or Joshua? Josh. And from the Fair Assessments Coalition. So we're going to be learning about property taxes.
Yes.
All right.
Nothing more important than where you buy your alcohol is all right.
So let's see. I am not super familiar. Where do we?
The top right.
Top right.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. There we go. Does that work?
Just close that. Great. Okay. Good evening, everybody. My name is Josh Spokes. I'm here with the Fair Assessments Coalition. We're a group of nonprofit organizations that have come together to work on a singular issue.
Okay, let's see. Or maybe I'm supposed to click here. Does that? Oh, there we go.
Yes.
Okay.
So as we all know, we have a large number of vacant lots and homes in Baltimore City. And something that we've been doing as we've been going about our work in Baltimore over the past couple of years is that we found that underutilized land and vacant homes are being systematically underassessed across the city. And as a result, we're all paying the bill. We're all paying the bill for this error that's happening within the state's administration. Next one. Okay. I think this is a block everyone's familiar with. The commercial block that's at Chester, right? With the old Burger King and Royal Farms. So back when Patterson Bowling closed, I was unemployed. I had some time to do research, and what I found was really interesting. I compared the block where Patterson Bowling used to be with the adjacent block, which is a kind of a pad site, Royal Farms, Burger King. And what I found was pretty staggering. Is the amount of property taxes that are being paid between the two blocks is that there's a substantial difference. So the Patterson Bowling block, there's a number of homes, there's places for small businesses, and that site is paying about $165,000 total in property taxes. Go across the other side of the street, it's a larger lot, but only paying about $30,000 in property taxes. It doesn't really make any sense. So I dig into it a little bit further, and I was looking at the assessed land values. So you see that under the Burger King and Royal Farms, the assessed land value is only about $15 per square foot, whereas across the street, you see that it's about $77 per square foot. So obviously I had questions. Why are these two properties that are next to each other, that are similarly zoned, that are ostensibly about the same size, why are they so different in value? And so you can kind of click through this slide.
Okay.
And keep going, one more.
Mhm.
There we go. Okay. And so we started looking across the city and found a number of examples of this. So this is the 2300 block of Whittier Avenue, which is up in Auchentrolley Terrace, across from Druid Hill Park. And what we found here is something similar. So if we look at, there's a number of vacant parcels and then a number of occupied parcels with homes on them. If we're looking at just the assessed land value, so the amount of value the state assigns to the land itself, we see that the vacant parcels are being assessed for only $2,200, whereas the occupied parcels are assessed for $25,000, which means that these owners of vacant lots are paying one-tenth of property taxes to hold on to their land, as opposed to the homeowners. So people who are taking care of their homes, who are occupying them, are being punished in this system. And you can kind of see what it looks like per square foot on the right-hand side here. And then keep going. And then, this is another example on North Fremont Avenue in Poppleton. So you can see we have a really wide variety of different land values being assessed here. Seems almost arbitrary because there's a couple of different owner-occupied properties that are, so we have one that's assessed for $30 per square foot. Another one's assessed for $5 per square foot. Again, doesn't really seem to make any sense. Excellent. And hit one more time. Thank you very much. And so we have to ask the question of what's accurate, what's actually right. Is it the either the occupied property is correct, or is it the vacant property that and everyone's actually paying too much? And so if we kind of go around and take a look at what homes are or what vacant lots are selling for, we see that. So this example on 3917 Bateman, this is up in Northwest Baltimore. It's within a row of occupied properties. And we can see that it was assessed for $7,500, but sold for $50,000 that same year. Which means that SSTAT, which is the State Department of Assessments and Taxation, is assessing the property for about 7 times less than it should be paying. So again, this is something that everyone else is paying for, just because there's vacant property that is being inaccurately assessed in terms of the amount of value it holds. And overall, what we see is that making land speculation cheap, it costs everybody else. When we have these underassessed properties, everyone else, not just if you're an owner, but if you're a renter as well, renters pay for higher property taxes and the way it gets passed on in rent. Everyone who is taking care of our city, who's living here, who's working here, everyone else is being unfairly burdened. And then further, we have these valuable pieces of land that are being underutilized. So, places within the city that could be homes, that could be businesses that are forcing people to live further out from the core of the city, and that's damaging the environment in the form of sprawl. And then we have, the resulting issues that come from just cheap land speculation. Next slide. And so overall, we came together as the Fair Assessments Coalition because we really think that this is important. This is something that the citizens of Baltimore deserve to have accurate assessed values of property. This is a really critical piece of, it's unfair if you're, if you look at the property next to you, you say like, hey, this piece of land is getting assessed for 10 times less than me. If you go and appeal for your property taxes, you're not going to get the result that you're looking for just because of the way the system is set up. And so absent extraordinary circumstances, we should be seeing consistent land values. Land value doesn't change so much across property lines. And so for the purposes of aligning, the policies we want to see, which is, reoccupying homes in the city, reoccupying vacant lots, we need to have an accurate picture of our land values, and we need to be fairly assessing property and then taxing those properties in a way that makes sense. Go ahead to the next slide. So just to kind of further illustrate what we're looking at here, and obviously this is a greatly exaggerated version, but under the current assessment system, if you have an occupied home next to a vacant lot, you have an occupied home paying $2,000 and the vacant lot paying $40. And over the course of the next couple of years, that will change. We have the new vacancy tax in the city, but that's something that we feel like it doesn't go quite far enough. So you have the next slide. Under a fair assessment system, we would see a substantial change in the balance between property taxes in adjacent properties. So sorry, I think I left the slide in and meant to add more text, but we engaged with the Center for Land Economics. Oh, it's okay. We engaged with the Center for Land Economics, and they did a study for us across the city. And what they found, and then sorry, to the next one, is that on average for properties that were sold after they were assessed, they're selling for 8 times as much as they were assessed for. So what that means is, you guys understand. I don't need to explain that. But however, what we're seeing, even if they're assessed after their sale, they're still being underassessed by about 3 times. And again, this is just, it's really unfair for people who live in Baltimore, pay property taxes. And, we have the highest property tax rate in the state. Everyone keeps saying this is part of the reason. This underassessment is part of the reason. Go ahead. Next one. So causes overall in our investigations, what we're seeing is that SSTAT, which is the State Department of Assessment and Taxation, they send you your property tax bill every year if you get one. We're finding that they're not fully coming around to the understanding that having accurate land values matters. It creates bad incentives when we have this cheap land speculation. And so what they've told us is, it needs to be inexpensive for whoever owns the property to eventually deliver value on it. But that's not really the case, because most of the time they're just going to hold on to the property, and they have no real incentive to do anything with it, because they know they're going to make more just hanging on to the piece of land and then selling it to someone who eventually, is willing to come around with enough cash, basically. So overall, what we're seeing is that SDAT is making this political decision at the administrative level. And we are really aiming to push to A, make an end to that, and B, make sure that SDAT has the resources and capacity that it needs to do this correctly, to ensure that land is assessed in a fair and accurate manner. But and then overall, in terms of complementing the existing efforts of the city's vacancy push, overall, making it more expensive to hold on to land is really critical for the plan. We really need to make sure that it's much harder for speculators to hold on to vacant lots onto vacant homes. And so our asks over the course of the next year, short term, we're asking SDAT to change its policy on the way that they value vacant lots, the way they value vacant homes. After the report was released, they have actually said that they're going to have a pilot that is changing the way that they assess vacant lots and land in Baltimore. So we're kind of one step of the way there. We obviously have to monitor that and make sure that's being done correctly. And then long term, what we're really pushing for is for the state General Assembly to appropriate a sufficient amount of money in the next budget year to ensure that they have the resources they need to accurately assess land. And we feel like this isn't something that just affects Baltimore. This is something that affects towns across the state. So, towns like Frederick and Brunswick and Salisbury and Cambridge, they all deal with similar problems to what we deal with. Next, I think that's actually my last slide.
Yeah, there's not appear to be another
Okay,
slide.
great.
So
As much as I love talking about property taxes and assessments, I know that it's not the most interesting topic, so I really appreciate your time. We are currently kind of on a community engagement blitz right now, so we're going to be talking to communities across the city over the course of this fall in the run-up to the General Assembly session next year, in the hopes that we can get this corrected. So I guess if anyone has questions, I'm happy to answer them.
okay, I'm going to use president's privilege to ask the first question because I've just wanted clarification. In your presentation, the illustration was showing vacant lots, which is to say just an empty land plot that has no property or building or anything on top of it.
Right.
But to be clear, you are saying that a vacant house, like something that's just sitting there, has been sitting there for years and years and is falling apart, are you also saying that is also being systematically undervalued?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there is, I think, some debate as to how those get assessed because there's something to be said for a vacant lot is immediately buildable, right? You can immediately build a home on it. Whereas if you have a vacant that's been there for a long time, it's deteriorating, but there's no real way to reconstruct it. There's argument that that actually has a negative effect on the value of the land. But that's up to SDAT's discretion. Overall, we're not seeing that taken on in a nuanced manner. So yeah.
Okay. I saw a question first from the chat. You can see it here. Lindsay is asking, how will SDAT address taxation of vacant lots that are held and improved as community green spaces and owned by nonprofits?
Well, if it's owned by a nonprofit, then it's exempt from taxation anyway. And then community green spaces, improved community green spaces. I mean, a lot of those, as far as I understand, are either city owned or currently owned by some private entity that maybe they've come to an agreement with. And so there's more political machination to get to that point. So if the city says we can issue some break to green space, community green space, or if it's owned by a nonprofit held by the neighborhood association, then it's exempt from property taxation.
Okay, and if you are on the Zoom, feel free to use the raise your hand function or type your question in the chat. But I saw someone's hand over. Yes, go ahead.
Doing something productive with their land. Either to tell someone will actually do something with it, right? To tax them appropriately or build housing, something like that. Baltimore City has 12 to 13,000 vacant and abandoned property. Cost of redevelopment is more than they could expect. from the sale when they all. If you were to dramatically raise the property value of these vacant abandoned properties, that would increase the overall necessary ultimate sale value, right? Like, let's say you got something valued at $7,000, you want to build a house on it, right? And sell for a certain amount. It's valued at $70,000, right? You got to buy the land first, redevelop the property, and you got to sell for that much more, right? Is there a fear then that in going about it this way, buying and redeveloping houses?
No, I mean, I think you're so. The thing to distinguish here is that there's the market value and there's the assessed value. What we're seeing is that your home, if you purchase your home, is assessed when you purchase it. It's assessed at the market value. What we're seeing is that these vacant properties are just being drastically underassessed, and the state is supposed to assess all properties at market value. And so, therefore, in setting these nominal values, setting this low assessment, they're de facto giving a discount to these vacant properties.
What he's saying is that if he's not getting anything back on his investment, then the market value is way lower, right?
No, I think
No.
he's saying that the market value is already $70,000, and the person who owns it gets to pay for $7,000 for the property.
Yes.
Even
Yeah,
though
no, but I'm going off his point. Right?
Yeah.
So what he's saying is that building the house, you're not
it'd
going
be
to
more
get that.
expensive.
Yeah,
But
you're
it's-
not going to get the profit off of it. So therefore, the property is actually worth less because you can't make profit off of it.
What?
But that's not. I mean, that's not what we're
It's
seeing.
already-
Right,
It's
like
like
we're-
saying, it's like kind of like saying like my parents subsidized my company, so I'm making money because they give me money to not go in the red. And it's like, but you would be in the red if you just paid the amount you should be paying. You're just getting bailed out repeatedly. And then at the end of the day, you're like, everyone else in theory is paying for your bailout because the city's like, we still need a budget. We need to meet the budget. So I get it, but it just means that if you own property, you should pay your fair share for the property you own. It's a context for it.
Well, yeah, I
And-
think we're disagreeing on what
Sure.
fair is.
Yeah,
So
importantly,
let's
like
go-
you're right. There is still going to be an appraisal gap in terms of like whether you can rebuild and make a profit. The important thing that I'm I think the thing I'm really trying to get to here is that like whether or not you can build on something and then turn a profit, these are being sold and traded for much substantially more than they're assessed at. So like I kind of showed a couple of sales examples where these are being sold for 8 times, 3 times, 4 times as much as they're being assessed for, and that's simply unfair. And we think that there's a substantial amount of value around the city that is underassessed in the same manner, and that's burdening everybody else.
Okay, I'm sorry. There's a lot to talk about here, but I'm gonna have to limit this to just one more question, and then Josh, would you mind sticking around if people want to talk to you one-on-one? Okay, so I saw you had a question, and then we're gonna have to move on to the next presentation.
I think you're absolutely right on the theory behind land value tax, but what's the actual steps to get the property assessed correctly? Because I can speak a little bit to it. Computer assessment formulas for MaxStat are pretty rudimentary, which results in the inaccurate valuations that you saw for both property values and land values.
Mhm.
So like, what is the steps that get you to getting machine learning engineers from Zillow to like actually create a model that does this correctly?
Yeah, and to be clear, like land value taxation is a separate thing. This is just ensuring that assessments of land are accurate. And then to respond to that, like the reason we want to make sure that SDOT has the resources that it needs in order to make this upgrade, because we know they're running off of old systems, is that they need to be able to pay people. They need to be able to bring in software that works in a better way. Like we know that their comma system is relatively rudimentary, as you said, and so that's why we are preparing for the next General Assembly session so we can push for those changes.
Okay, thank you very much, Josh. And there's obviously so much we could talk about and so much we could learn about this, but we have limited time. And as I always say in these meetings, at 8 o'clock, people literally come down from the library upstairs to kick us out of here. So we got to move this along to our last guest speaker, which is Baltimore City 311. Now, I think you sent me a presentation. I don't see it. You don't happen to have it on a thumb drive, do you? Okay. You send it to president@pattersonparkneighbors.org. I'm sorry, I don't see it. Okay, let's see. You have pattersonpark.neighbors in there. It's all one, it's all no dots or dashes or anything. pattersonparkneighbors.org. While we're figuring that out, would you like to introduce yourselves?
Hello, everyone. My name is Camille. We're from 311. This is LaTanya. She's one of the supervisors. I'm one of the senior agents and the community association people who come out to the communities for the events. I've been with 311 for over 18 years. LaTanya has been here for about maybe a couple of years less, but around the same time. We're basically waiting. We're going to do our presentation. I'm sure everyone's familiar with 311 already. Okay. We can just to see if they get presentation.
Okay.
Okay. We did put some giveaways on the desk for everyone to be able to see.
And I'm going to tell you right now, you have about 15 minutes,
Okay.
just
No
so you know.
problem.
Okay.
So I think one of the things that, we get started, why don't you tell us what makes for an efficient and really good 311 call? What do you need from us?
We basically need information. You can't just call and say, oh, well, I want to report a car that's been parked for a week, but don't know the make and model, don't know the color, don't have information on it, but you want us to come and have the car removed. That's one thing. We also need everyone to understand 311, we are the one-stop call center. You are supposed to call us. You are supposed to call us and tell us information and things of that nature, but we're not, it's not like you call us and we come get your trash and then come back to the office and take the calls. We take the calls for the agency, whether it's parking, transportation, housing, water department. We take the calls from the issues that you're calling in. We send it to the agency. One thing that I don't think that a lot of people understand is we give you service request numbers. When we give you service request numbers, I know that we ask you for your name and your phone number, email address, but more than likely, they're not calling you back. It's up to you to actually call back with the service request number to get the information. That's very, very important. A lot of times people call in and they actually think, oh, well, they're asking for my name and my phone number. They want to call me with a resolution. No, take the service request number. It's very important. If you can't write it down, you have the opportunity to either offer your email address. If they don't ask, they are supposed to ask. But if they don't ask, you can say, hey, email it to me to make sure that you get the information to be able to call back. So Baltimore City One Call Center overview for 311. Content, who we are, 311 process, which agencies does 311 assist, and new innovation. Okay, so 311 call center and who we are. Mission statement, the Baltimore City One Call Center 311 will serve the voice of the Baltimore while building and strengthening relationships with the community and partnering agencies. Core values, customer driven, attention, resolution, and excellence, building strong relationships, trustworthy, provide support, cultivate an environment of inclusion, commitment to professionalism, maintain the confidence of our customers, and customer service, internal and external. We're reliable, active listening, provide effective communication, respectfully and empathetically, engaging and approachable. What is 311? Basically, 311 is for anyone that's in Baltimore City and County to call to actually get information, get a service taken care of, the beginning stages of it, get a service request number, and give us a call back once the time frame is given for us to look into the situation. Did everybody get to see? Okay. It's a man. Next slide. 311 service request process. Step 1.
Don't worry about
Step 1. Submit the service request by dialing 311, submitting online or 311 mobile app. Step 2. 311 agents receive the request, delivers to the corresponding city agencies. As I said, we just take the calls, we send the information over to the agencies that it goes to. Step 3. Request is dispatched to investigator for follow-up and the resolution. Step 4 is after complaint is resolved, investigator will provide details and findings, close the request. Step 5, citizens will receive an automatic email with the update status for the complaint. As I said, just because you ask your name and number doesn't mean that you're getting a call back. The only ticket that you really get a call back definitely is if you have handicap parking space. That's the only request that I can tell you that you're actually going to get a call back, because they want to be sure that's not your car that you put there, and then that car gets a ticket or a tow. Go ahead, next slide. Top 7 agency service requests. That is DPW, which is like the water department, trash, things of that nature, Department of Transportation, the Baltimore Health Department. Then this top 7 agency service requests, we have Department of Housing, we have the Baltimore City Recreation and Parks, Parking Authority, and the Baltimore City Police Department. 311 non-emergency police. 311 allows residents to report police calls such as loud noise, loitering, destruction of property, domestic disturbance. So anything that you feel as though is a non-emergency, you can surely feel free to give us a call at 311 police non-emergency. We also got agents, except for unless you're basically new, we actually do both calls. So we're able to multitask and do whatever you actually call in for. Next slide. 311 language line services. So we have now the option. We already kind of had it, but now it's also on the mobile app, so you can download the mobile app and be able to use it in Spanish. You always could have called 311 speaking any language, and we would have to help to get what language you need. But we have the option of you being able to call into 311, and we can get you whether it's Chinese, whether it's Mandarin, whether it's Spanish, whether it's Russian, anything that you're speaking, you can actually still always call into 311, and we're able to get someone to translate that information. But you also have the option now to be able to download the 311 app on your phone, and you'll get it in Spanish. Or they're trying to get other languages. Spanish is the first one that they've done it with, but it will ultimately be everything on there that you'll have the option to be able to use. So the 311 innovation, the chatbot technology offers the citizen the opportunity to voice their concerns via chat text. That hasn't came yet. They're working on it. Hopefully it'll be here soon. The new system configurations will provide field workers with the compatibility to update service requests at real time. And that's something that they're working on as far as being able to just get you your results a little bit quicker. If you put the request in online, or if you call into 311 and you try to go and look into the service request yourself to get information for it, sometimes you're still not able to see everything that I'm able to see. So it's always best, we love to talk to you, it's always best to call back to 311 to get updated information on your service request. Multi-language options, like I said, via the web portal or the mobile app, or you can just call us and we'll be more than happy to help you. Close means close. We'll provide accurate updates, resolution statuses to the citizens. Like I said, sometimes you can't see everything that we can see, so it's best to call into us to get other information. They're working on getting that to be updated so that you get more real-time information at that time, but you can just always call us. We're here at 311, 365 days. 7 days a week. Rain, sleet, snow. We here. No matter what. It's a blizzard. we still need clean. Give us, you can call us whenever you need to. Next slide. So you can follow us at Bulk 311 on social media. We're on Instagram. You'll be able to see me on there. It's flyers actually on the table with you to be able to download the different apps and the different things that we have. And we also have these flyers that says the 211, 311, and 911, helping to give a little bit more information basically on our services. Does anyone have any questions for me?
How many calls do you take in a day? Do you know?
I'm gonna be honest. I'm not 100% sure to know that part, but it's actually on our website, and they actually do an update on that, like on maybe I'm gonna say like a monthly basis. Because when I was just actually on there, it's showing the amount of calls and like the service requests that we actually put in. Another thing that people don't know that I find very interesting when January 1st starts, you start with 1.
Yep.
So you know how you call us now? If you call us now, we're on. I'm gonna just give a number, but because I take the call, we're at like 777-134. We're in the 7. So that's how many calls we've actually taken from 1. And then next January it's gonna start 1 again. So that tells you.
And I worked for the city for 12, so I want to help answer her question. So and what she's saying is that every year it starts over and the first 2 digits of the year. So it's 25 dash 00
Exactly.
776 500. That means there's been 776,500 calls.
Yes.
And every year it's about 1 million a year. You divide it by 365, they're getting over 3,000 calls a day.
And that's just the calls that we're taking online. We still have people putting requests in online. We still have other agencies, solid waste, water department that's putting in requests or, different things of that nature. So any other questions?
I actually think Lindsay had the same question online, but to your last point about making it clear about the resolution status, I also use 311, not as often as Lindsay mentioned, but not having notes about when it says closed, what does that mean? So is that thing, but not just like a status about closed, positive closed, but like having details from the agent about
Yes,
that
most
also be
definitely.
available to the public facing?
Hopefully, yes. But as I said, you can always call back into 311. So say for instance, if you call in for trying to think what other requests. Any of the requests, all of the requests have time frames.
Yeah.
So say for instance, if you're calling in like a water leak, like water leaking on the street, we'll initially tell you for that request they had 2 business days to come out. But the water department actually works 24 hours. We're giving you that time frame because they need that amount of time to at least look into the situation. So they may another good one is BGE, Street Lights Out. So say for BGE Street Lights Out, you put that request in the system. We have 4 days to send that over to BGE, and then it's closed. That doesn't mean it's resolved, only because that just gives us 4 days to send it to BGE. So in actuality, you have to call back into 311. It's a BGE system work order ID number that's put on a ticket, and then you call BGE, and they tell you, oh, it's a cable fault. This is going to take 30 days, or it's just a panel that's will be out tomorrow. But you have to call us first to put the ticket in the system, because with a lot of the requests that we also put in, we are just helping them to keep track of what they're getting. Like we take calls for the fire department as far as like if you need use and occupancy permits, fire permit renewals, things of that nature. We're just helping. Like we don't work for that actual department, but we're taking the calls to help them to keep it in order. So we'll let you know, okay, well, they have 7 to 10 business days to contact you. And then they'll close the ticket out. They may close, those agencies may close the ticket out, but they're still working on it. So hopefully it'll be sooner than later that they update the system, that either give it real time or don't maybe close it out and say pending.
Yeah.
Or something like that. But that is something that's in the works.
Another common thing that comes up is duplicates.
Mhm.
So you'll be in a very busy intersection and there's a water main break, and maybe 6 neighbors call again. First ticket is going to stay open. The next 5 are going to get closed. That confuses a lot of people, but it's to help the agencies have an accurate idea of what their real.
just be great when you're in the detail to just know that that's the reason why versus like calling 3 times to say, oh, it says closed, but now you're saying it's not closed. But it'd be just great to know because we have a little sentence. So
Any other questions or concerns?
It seems like somebody online.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I was gonna ask.
There's time. Go ahead.
Oh, sure. Hi, I'm Courtney. I just recently moved here. I used the 311 app. It was amazing. DPW came out, admittedly for, issue with rodents. And I, of course, had someone come out treat. It was great. But unfortunately, I live just in full transparency on a block of curly decker in that alleyway. And it's more expansive. Have you ever had a situation where someone has put in a 311 request for DPW for an entire block? Or is it that you can only treat that one?
So you put your ticket under solid waste rub out request and
Yes, and that was nice.
The reason for that is because if you paid attention, when they were asking the questions, it asked, are you the owner of the property? And we asked you the permission for the city to come onto your property.
Right.
So your neighbor would have to answer that question as well. You can't get permission for your neighbor.
Everyone. Okay.
So it would have to be a collective thing where so okay, if you're calling in and you tell them your neighbor, hey, I'm calling 311 for a red rub out, go ahead and give them a call so they can just hit it all with one go. That's something that everyone would have to call for themselves. Unfortunately, you can't just say, oh, can you do the whole block?
Okay.
Now if it's like a vacant property or a person that does not want to participate with you as far as doing it, you can put in another ticket, but this is important to you that I know. They have to make sure that you're letting them know when you're calling in. You're calling for your own home. Well, you did it before, so you know. But this is just general information. Make sure you tell them if it's your property so that you don't get in an HCD rodents, which you're reporting someone, opposed to you wanting the city to come out to bait free of charge.
Yeah. Thank you.
But you could do the HCD if they're not cooperating.
Right.
If your neighbors are like, I don't care about the rats. Like,
Yeah.
F you.
Yeah.
Then you call me.
Yeah, you can put it in for it's housing community development, but you can put in a request for that one. And they'll come out within 15 days and give them a ticket on citation.
There's a question.
Yeah.
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 So excuse me, Tail. I'm just going to call your attention to the chat here. You can see this question from Lindsay on the screen, and I'll let you just read that and respond.
I'm a regular 311 user, which means I regularly have issues with reporting through 311. Who do neighbors talk to at 311 about making necessary improvements? For example, ticket closure without resolution or notes, no SR number for non-emergency police calls, missing complaint options like for reporting unregistered and unlicensed retail properties. So let's do that in parts. Let's see. In regular 311 users,
Licensed rental property goes to somewhere.
neighbors talk to as far as 311 about making necessary improvements. So when you're talking about making improvements, are you trying to make improvements on other people on your property or someone else's property? Because if it's someone else's,
I
you have
I
to
think
report them
actually
as
what
housing.
she's saying is she wants to give feedback to 311 as a system and how you all operate. And so when she's talking about improvements, she means things like that. And you sort of addressed this, but she wants to know like specifically who can she talk to about, this is the problem I'm having with 311, and who can she talk to
I
about
mean,
that?
if she has issues with 311, you can you can go online and put your information on there. I'm actually one of the ones who helped to answer the questions that you put online. And we can see, like, depending on what it is, as far as the changes you're trying to make in 311, you know what I mean? It's something that I can forward to our director as far as like opinions on that. For police calls, unfortunately, we don't give SR numbers for police calls because that is a police non-emergency. Now, if you ask for it's like a P number at the bottom of the police calls, you can ask for that number if you're trying to keep records yourself. But the police non-emergency calls are called in, and then that's sent over to our what is it called? What is it called? No, I mean it's sent to the police, but it's a telephone reporting unit, and then they make the decision of whether or not that call is going to be handled over the phone. Because since COVID, that's changed. They'll actually we'll send it over, and then it goes to them. They make the decision of whether an officer needs to actually go out or something that is handled over the phone. But like I said, it's a number at the bottom, but police calls have never, in the 18 years that I've been there, had a service request number.
Okay. And then I guess she also has opinions about, like, for certain kinds of complaints on the app, there may be I guess she feels like there are options that she would like to be able to check when she's putting that in, and they are not there right now. So who can she talk
give her
to?
opinions, like I said, she can download, well, on our social media app with Instagram. She can go on there and she can put what she wants to maybe suggest as something that's looked into. And like I said, I could have it forwarded to the director.
So what, and we as a board talk about this regularly. One of the things that we want to do to be better involved in the community is, where appropriate, tag our association emails as representatives for the different districts to the 311. So recommendations like that is what Lindsay's talking about.
Okay, so like maybe emails or people that she can actually contact.
So if you're willing, after the meeting, we can set up some time to meet with you, or
I can give you my, because I'm the one who actually does all of the community events. It's normally me and Nikki who does most of them. You can email me, it's not a problem, and then I can be able to assist you. And like I said, I can forward it to the director.
Right.
As far as that's not a problem at all. So she can have my email as well. That's not a problem.
All right.
But yeah.
Other questions?
Hey everybody, my name is Sir James, community organizer for Progressive Melon. So happy to be at my first PPNA meeting with the group. I am engaging community members in Brooklyn. I've been there for about 3 years, and we're hearing about issues with trash in the alleyways, where sometimes the city's coming out to clean it, and then the next 2 days it's trashed again. Having a meeting around the neighborhood, meeting around when I launch next Saturday at Kingdom Church. I will. I want to know, is there a report on, I guess, how many people are calling 311 in Brooklyn? We did receive some feedback from representatives that if people in the area may not be calling 311. I wonder if there's a link to a study or anything like that that shows data.
I'm gonna be honest, Nikki's not with me, so I don't have that. But that is something that we can get and that we do have, as far as like how many, and they've actually just started really looking into that with the director. She has charts of how many people call from different areas. So that is something that we do have that we could, get to you. My email for Baltimore City is Tennille Gilliam, and it's TENNILLE .GILLIAM and Baltimore City.
So there's also an issue with syringe needles being on the ground. I did learn that there's syringe needles that are any of the waste or trash that it cannot be collected.
That's not true.
That's not true. Okay,
No,
so what
you
happens
can actually
when
call
there's
police non-emergency. We will put in a police call with the situation. Just gotta have the location that you're sending it to. As much information always helps, opposed to us just saying, example, 133rd Street. Like if we're giving them like as much detail as possible, we could put in for a police call for the syringe.
So if there's syringes on the ground,
Yeah,
like, what would that process look like? Not me, but like what would the community member?
They just call 311 and say, hey, it's syringes on the ground. We need someone to come out.
Right.
And we literally are supposed to put in a police call for the officer to go out. Now, how they actually handle it, I can't say because I'm not an officer, but that is an option.
Because I do know the health department was going out to Brooklyn some time ago, and picking the syringes up and then also handing out needles to drug addicts.
We were informed to have you to call, tell you to call call police on emergency.
Okay,
Not
so,
sure as far as
so this falls under the police's domain, like
that's what we've been informed to put them in.
Okay, is there I want to send you an email, but I'd like to get information on that data. If there's any way you can direct me to that, that'd be great.
Actually, a correction, as of maybe if you call and they'll ask you if you're willing to collect the syringe needles. If you tell them yes, they'll tell you, how to pick them up and dispose of them in a box. Or if you say no, then we put it under health the health department syringe disposable request.
So Baltimore Health does come out.
Yes.
That's what I,
That's as far as a service request. So yes, we do have that option.
what you just said, that the person doesn't want to do it, and then,
Yeah, what I'm saying is, you still have the option that we will put that in for a police call. The police haven't told us, no, they're not going down.
do you have more information on that? Like, as far as like that process and what's been, just that actual, situation, you have more insight on that you can share?
When you say more insight, I mean, as
Just
far as
people
numbers
call-
of how many
just
people call
calling in
in.
and just the amount of time that it takes for those syringes, from the time that somebody reports. That
So for the service request, Latanya's looking at the service request. We can tell you the time frame on a service request. For a police call, if the person called in for the police,
Yeah.
we can't get an ETA, but the call is put in. As far as the service request, does it say time?
No, I'm just looking at the memo in the post office.
I think you can email me.
Yeah, I'm gonna,
And I can look at the request, because I don't know the time frame. It's literally probably like over 400 service requests. Because I've been there so long, I do know a lot of them. Sometimes I do forget, but we have them. We have options for them, but I know it has a time frame. Like I said, all of the requests had time frames. It has
do you
time
know if the
frames.
city has lost funding?
That part, no, they don't report that to 311 as far as using funding.
Because
Unless the service request disappears, that's the only way I'm gonna know that maybe they're not funding it, but it's not like they report to us as far as the funding for different agencies.
Okay, well, it's a pervasive issue there, and this is a focus of Progressive Maryland. It's been up there, it's been an issue for a few years.
Mhm.
And so we will, engage the media on this the week after our meeting. So that's coming as well. But thank you so much, and I would love to want to build this relationship and work with you.
So just so you know though, 311 does not work with the media.
Right, I'm not saying
Right,
that.
right.
I'm telling you
I just
that,
wanted to
I'm letting
make
you
sure.
know that we're gonna get the media.
Oh, well, no, I tell citizens when they call
Not
in,
311.
right, so I do tell citizens, if, going that route, definitely, I understand, we want the best for our community.
Yeah.
We're gonna do what we need to do to make sure that our communities are
Sure.
done properly, but we have to follow our protocols. as far
Yeah, I
as-
mean, this is good information. I want to see that, the report you talked about with the calls. I would love to take a look at that, because we've been wondering, like, because we heard that, people are not calling in, and that's why, the needles are staying there, the trash is staying there. People
Right.
are-
Yeah.
So I just want to take a look at that.
No problem.
Yeah.
I think we have time for one more question, if anybody has one. Well, I'm sorry, were you raising your hand?
Oh, sorry, I just wanted to make an announcement after.
Okay, hold on just 1 second. And okay, well, I want to say thank you to Tennille and Latanya for taking time out of your busy days to come talk to us. And so we will now move to the community announcements, which we are going to go through as quickly as we can. And so Mary sent me something. Here we go.
My announcement is take this QR code. Friends of Library Square are looking for volunteers to help with cleaning up and maintaining the pocket gardens that are around the area. So this is a survey. Fill it out. Friends of Library Square will contact you, get you involved in the team to help us keep those gardens clean. My second announcement is, and the date just flew out of my mind, I think it's October 18th, is the Running Festival.
Mhm.
And I'm looking for volunteers who might help me organize this. And so sign up. We have always tried to have a party in front of the library on Linwood. Bring your noisemakers, your costumes, and we'll have a good time, but you're there for a long time as that race runs through the neighborhood. So, names, emails, I'll appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, go ahead.
Hi, I work for Baltimore City Recreation and Parks. I work for Virginia's Big Recreation Center, Patterson Parks Recreation Center. I try to get through everything as fast as possible. Haven't been here in a while just because everything's been so hectic. Summer camp, that is our Super Bowl season. So everything just gets all focused on
events throughout the summer, throughout the city, and of course, summer camp. We are a traveling camp, the best in the city, to be honest. So for our most important things, I'll try to get through them. This weekend, September 13th, we have a back to school event with Stop the Bleed. Stop the Bleed teaches you how to be like first responder. Other than that, just a very fun, very friendly event to go to at Virginia's Baker Recreation Center from 10 to 3 this weekend. We love everyone to come out. We are trying to do more community outreach. But you will see my face in the park all the time. Dynasty. We also have quite a lot of programs, evening programs going on at the time. We have our after school program, which our fall session is from September to January. We are already filled. We fill up pretty fast. We serve children from actually 5 to 14. We have our after school program, after school adventures is 5 to 12. I teach the 12 to 14-year-olds, which is our youth-based program. I'm also the STEM instructor. So right now I am switching from my 3D pen program. You may have heard of it. Hopefully you did. From our 3D pen program to a more Lego-based focused programming. So I'm currently doing Lego motions, which is teaching our 6 and up students teamwork, dexterity, and just creativity through our Lego Brick Motions kits. They will be working in teams, a bit of something that you really have to focus on. So they'll be working in teams to create little challenges through the kits. I'm also partnering with First Lego League, Lego robotics. That is a big thing that this league is trying to get into. We made states last year through our, I believe, Locust Point Recreation Center. So we're really trying to make it back and go even further. I'm teaching that at Virginia's Baker Recreation Center. I'm starting on September 30th. That is a limited participation since we only have so much supplies. 10 participants. Kids must be at least 8 and must be 9 in order to be on the team, in order to stand at the table to be in the competition. So if you know any children if that might be interested in robotics or STEM, like I said, I am the STEM instructor, and we are trying to, I probably shouldn't say this, we are trying to turn Virginia's Baker into a STEM hub. We already have Madison Recreation Center for our East 2 district. That is our STEM Maker Lab. However, we are trying to expand that. And we are in the talks of probably renovating the recreation center again, probably within the next 2 years, and turning it into something even greater. So we would love for you all to hopefully participate in all of our activities so that they know that the community really wants it. Also, last thing, we are trying to hopefully have a Halloween event. We are sort of up in the air about that, but me and my director, Ms. Monique D, you might have heard her name, she is, well, her and I are very, very into Halloween, and like I said, we are trying to get the community more engaged. So as far as funding for that, we are kind of iffy on that. So if any of you know anyone that might like to collaborate, donations, like I said, we are open to that, but if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. We just really weren't able to do any of these things last year because we were just getting into our recreation center, and they were really pushing us to do everything at once. That was around November, so Thanksgiving, Christmas, and as city workers, we help through all of the recreation events throughout the city, so focusing on our own things can be difficult sometimes. But we really, really love Halloween, and if it's not like a haunted house, which we really want to do, then it's just maybe a Halloween party. Like I said, up in the air, but if you guys could email me at dynasty.brooks@baltimorecity.gov or my director, monique.g@baltimorecity.gov on any ideas you might have, anything you might want from us as far as programming, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, anything. We are very open and very welcoming to any collaborations, partnerships, donations. The kids will love it. The community will love it. Thank you so much.
Right. Okay. We have to wrap this up. So here's what we're gonna do. There are a bunch of materials on that table. I need everybody to leave. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to put it so bluntly, but that's what the library is going to tell us. I need everybody to leave. Pick up materials on the table as you walk out. And if you need to have conversations, you are free to have those just outside. Thank you all.